Hi, I'm Joshua Roman. I'm here at Amoeba Records, Amoeba Music, and this is what's in my bag. Start this side. I don't know how to say this. Ixon? It's Amon Tobin's album. I'm a huge fan of Amon Tobin. Chaos Theory is one of my favorite albums, but I just love the way he mixes found sounds and things that he's sort of created himself, and the multiple levels of sound that are going on at any given time, not just harmonically and rhythmically, but also the way that he plays with how they come through the speakers. It really creates, for me, an intense sonic experience. It's music that I love to listen to, like when I walk around the street in New York, through the crowds, just in my headphones, or when I need to get a lot done. I don't drink coffee, but sometimes I'll drink coffee and put on Amon Tobin. And that's a very productive afternoon. This empty album is the White Album, and I just had to have something of the Beatles. I actually won a White Album poster when I was a kid, probably like 12, listening to this old show called The Beatle Years on Sunday mornings at like 6 a.m. And I called in and answered a question. I was probably the only person awake calling The Beatles show. And I had that up on my wall for a long time, and my parents thought it was kind of silly, but I love The Beatles, and this is probably my favorite album. White Pepper, Ween. I discovered Ween in college when I discovered a lot of things, musical and non-musical, and some of them go very well with Ween. Bananas and blow. Bananas and blow. Bananas and blow. Stuck in my Quebec, living on bananas and blow. They're the most versatile band that I know. They can do anything. They're like masters of style, but in this particular album, they change almost every single song, has a different style. Times that mean equity, the fruits of the tree will sound again, my friend. Flutes of Chi, Bananas and Blow. Let's see, what else is, oh, Stroker Ace is a good one. I've only ever listened to it on small speakers, so the idea of hearing it like this is pretty amazing. Miles Davis, Kind of Blue. For me, this is just like the best evening. Just listening to this. I recently did that in my apartment in Chelsea, New York, when I built my first fire. Very small apartment, but the one good thing I have is a fireplace. It was perfect. Kind of Blue, super late at night, some scotch, a fire, s'mores in my living room. It was amazing. Nina Simone, I got this one because her voice just, for me, is breathtaking. It like grabs instantly at something. Baby, yes it does. Baby, yes it does. It's very powerful, but I don't know her body of work as much as I wish I did. So, seems like a good place to start. Classic, Silk and Soul. Julian Bream. This I actually got because of one particular piece, or 5 particular pieces, the 5 Bagatelles by William Walton, which are totally badass. The classical guitar is such a unique sound. Every time I hear it, I'm immediately transported to somewhere else. It's almost never the thing that, for me, belongs in that room. It always creates its own space, and I love that transformative power. And Walton, an English composer, he finds his way around the guitar in the sound of the 20th century in a very special way. Nixon in China is an opera by John Adams. It's an incredible opera about the first visit of an American president to Communist China, which was a huge deal. And this opera, I think, captures that really powerfully and has my favorite aria, maybe of all time, which is I Am the Wife of Chairman Mao. which is just this really crazy aria with these fantastic vocal acrobatics that are very driving and very simple, but just, you really have to nail them. And what's going on in the opera at that point is very powerful. And the dynamics between both couples, the president and the first lady, and then their equivalents over in China. So, powerful opera. John Cage, Cheap Imitation. I am going through a Cage phase. I think he posed a lot of important questions about what music is, and along the way, a lot of the stuff that he created was pretty cool. I always feel like I have to read about what it is that he says and not just listen to it. I try to start by listening to his music first, but then always read about it and the philosophy behind it, because he's one of those guys who usually had something to say. Or sometimes, in the case of 433, nothing to say. Last one, David Bowie.
Beautiful baby, my burning desire started on Sunday. Give me your heart and I'll love you till Tuesday.
I wrote a song cycle based on poetry by Tracy K. Smith, and she uses a lot of Bowie references in her poetry. In fact, the piece that I set, the poem was called Life on Mars. So it just brought that around, and it happened around the same time as his death, so it's very sort of poignant. So I feel like I have to grab some Bowie.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah,
Really
this is cool. It's dangerous. I can't go into a bookstore or a record store.
Well, thank you very much for talking with us today.
Thank you, Rachel.
Amoeba.